Over time, I noticed a growing issue in Dragon Ball Super, and that has only become more apparent as the series has progressed. Let me preface by saying that I still enjoy the series, but one reoccurring problem has been difficult to overlook. In the earlier arcs, this issue was minimal or even non-existent. The main issue is that the transformations in Dragon Ball Super often appear without proper build-up, continuity, or explanation. Characters suddenly achieve powerful new forms without much insight into how they acquired them, why they were necessary, or what makes them unique. In some cases, these transformations are never even revealed with their name in the series itself. They get revealed in unrelated media later, like Dragon Ball Heroes, card games, or through statements from Akira Toriyama or others involved in the franchise. In addition to this, there are instances where characters gain exclusive forms that are never revisited or adequately explained in the larger context of the series. This lack of consistency undermines the significance of transformations, which once felt like monumental moments in the Dragon Ball Saga. To illustrate this issue, I'll go through each arc in Dragon Ball Super, covering both the anime and the manga, and highlight how transformations were introduced, often in a way that lacked clarity or continuity. The Battle of Gods arc introduced Super Saiyan God, the only new transformation in the segment of its story. Its method of attainment was both unique and tied to Saiyan lore, making it one of the more thoughtfully integrated transformations in Dragon Ball Super. Achieving the form required a special ritual involving 6 righteous Saiyans. 5 pure-hearted Saiyans would channel their energy into a 6th, who would then transform into a Super Saiyan God. This ritualistic process adds depth to the Saiyan race's history, as it's revealed that an ancient Saiyan once achieved this transformation in the past to confront a subtle group of evil Saiyans. The design of the Super Saiyan God form is distinct yet simple. The Saiyan's hair turns a striking crimson red while maintaining its base form style. Their eyes also turn red with black pupils, and the transformation gives the user a slimmer, more refined physique. The fiery red aura that engulfs the user further emphasizes the form's divine and otherworldly nature. From a power perspective, the Super Saiyan God transformation was a game changer. Goku, who was effortlessly defeated by Beerus with just 2 strikes in his Super Saiyan 3 form, could now hold his own in an intense battle against the God of Destruction. Though it's important to note that Beerus was still holding back significantly. Nonetheless, the form's introduction proved a sense of escalation, while also highlighting how far Goku had to go to reach the realm of the gods. After this arc, the mechanics of the Super Saiyan God transformation became more flexible. Goku demonstrated the ability to assess the form without the need for the ritual, implying that once transformation is achieved through the ritual, it can later be accessed at will. At first glance, Super Saiyan God looks like a similar reskin of your base state, but there's a bit of differences. With the backstory and the lore, I think it's a well-earned transformation for the entire Dragon Ball series, seeing as though they wouldn't have been able to achieve it if they didn't take a more righteous path in their life. The Resurrection F arc introduced 2 new transformations, Super Saiyan Blue and Golden Frieza. While they are significant additions to the franchise, both suffer from serious flaws in execution, continuity, and narrative impact. Starting off with Super Saiyan Blue, officially named Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, was introduced as the next step in Saiyan transformation. While the concept of combining God Ki with Super Saiyan sounds interesting, its implementation is riddled with issues. First, the form's logic is poorly explained. Supposedly, it's the result of training to tap into God Ki while utilizing Super Saiyan, but how exactly this process works is never clarified. Unlike earlier transformations that came with a clear progression, such as emotional triggers or extreme physical stress, Super Saiyan Blue feels more like a plot device than natural evolution. The form simply exists after Goku and Vegeta train with Whis, lacking the depth of storytelling weight of earlier forms, such as Super Saiyan 1 or 2. This makes his sudden appearance feel lazy and uninspired, as if it was solely introduced to give the protagonist a new power-up without having to earn it narratively. You could argue that back in the day, Super Saiyan 3 was similar to this. However, even with that, there was much more of an understanding as to how Goku could have achieved such power after being dead for 7 years in Otherworld, but that's a different topic for a different day. Design-wise, Super Saiyan Blue lacks originality. The only notable change is the color of the hair and aura, now blue instead of red or gold. Even the shade of blue is inconsistent across the different media, sometimes appearing as a bright cyan and other times as a darker, muted tone. The fights involving Super Saiyan Blue frequently show its struggle against foes that don't seem to warrant the supposed increase in strength. The lack of clear power and its inconsistent portrayal across battles diminishes its impact, not to mention the fact that it hasn't really beat anyone besides Golden Frieza. Which leads us to our next transformation, Golden Frieza. While a logical concept on the surface, it suffers similar problems. The premise that Frieza never trained during his reign is consistent with his character, but the sudden leap in power he achieves after just a few months of training stains credibility. Frieza is able to go from utterly dominated by base form Goku to surpassing Super Saiyan Blue, a jump that feels forced and undermines the power progression in the entire series. It's yet another instance of Dragon Ball Super using a convenient power-up to introduce a new threat without building the narrative groundwork to support it. Design-wise, Golden Frieza is underwhelming. Instead of creating something truly innovative, the transformation simply adds a golden hue to Frieza's final form with some purple highlights. While the golden sheen is flashy, it lacks the creativity and distinctiveness of past villains' transformations, such as Perfect Cell or Majin Buu. The bulked-up physique adds nothing new and merely echoes Frieza's full power state from the Namek Saga. The arc's handling of his revival and progression feels rushed, making it hard to take Golden Frieza seriously as a credible threat. While the transformation does provide a massive power boost, its Achilles heel rapid energy depletion feels contrived. The weakness seems to exist solely to ensure Frieza's eventual defeat, as there's little reason for him to have not trained further to master the form before challenging Goku and Vegeta. This oversight not only undermines the transformation's significance, but also makes Frieza's character arc feel incomplete and poorly thought out. In the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament arc, the only new transformation that was introduced is Kaio-Ken Blue. While this isn't entirely a new form, it combines the Kaio-Ken technique with the Super Saiyan Blue transformation. Goku explains that this synergy is possible because of the calm and composed nature of Super Saiyan Blue, which contrasts with the fiery, unstable energy of earlier Super Saiyan forms that would have made a combination impossible. While the logic is sound and ties back to earlier mechanics in the series, the sudden introduction of such a high-stakes combination felt somewhat rushed and unexplored. This made a lot of sense to me, and I rather enjoyed seeing Goku's old move being put on screen. Design-wise, Kaio-Ken Blue retains the physical features of Super Saiyan Blue, but with the fiery red aura of Kaio-Ken, creating a visually striking effect. This form demonstrates Goku's creativity and adaptability in battle, but its sudden appearance with little prior build-up diminishes its impact and makes it feel more like a one-time gimmick rather than a meaningful evolution. Regardless though, I will give it a pass. I think similar to Super Saiyan God, there's a concept behind it here, and even though Super Saiyan Blue weighs it down a bit, seeing Goku use Kaio-Ken again and now being able to combine it with his transformation, something people have wanted for years, makes sense here. The Goku Black Saga introduces two new transformations, Super Saiyan Rose and Super Saiyan Rage. However, these forms expose some glaring issues in how Dragon Ball Super handles transformations in general, particularly in terms of explanation and continuity. Super Saiyan Rose is achieved by Goku Black, who explains that his transformation differs from Super Saiyan Blue because he is a god inhabiting a Saiyan's body. This divine influence supposedly turns the hair pink instead of blue. While this explanation is plausible and ties to the arc's theme of divine power clashing with mortal strength, it still feels underdeveloped. This form appears to be on par with Super Saiyan Blue in terms of strength, but with no clear metrics provided, it leaves fans to speculate. Design-wise, Super Saiyan Rose stands out visually with his pink hair and elegant aura, which align with Goku Black's personality and divine arrogance. However, beyond aesthetics, it doesn't add up much to the transformation hierarchy. It feels more like a palette swap of Super Saiyan Blue rather than a unique power-up, and its potential as a symbol of divine corruption is underutilized in this arc. Super Saiyan Rage, achieved by Trunks, exemplifies the growing inconsistency in Dragon Ball Super's handling of transformations. Unlike most other forms, this one receives no proper explanation or exploration within the story. Its origins, mechanics, and even the name are left ambiguous. In fact, the anime doesn't even acknowledge it as a distinctive transformation, leaving fans and external media to fill in the gaps. The name Super Saiyan Rage comes from other franchise material like Dragon Ball Heroes. The name Super Saiyan Rage wasn't even given to him in the anime. During the Universal Survival Saga, specifically the Tournament of Power, it's infamous for introducing transformations that raise more questions than they answer, with little to no explanation or continuity. Two glaring examples of this is Kaio's Rage transformation and Vegeta's Super Saiyan Blue evolution, both of which exemplify the problematic way Dragon Ball Super introduces and handles new power-ups. Kaio's transformations are an obvious homage to Broly from the original series. When she transforms, her physique becomes significantly bulkier. Her irises vanish entirely, her hair turns a vibrant green, and her power seems to grow uncontrollably. This form, while visually striking, receives no proper explanation. Vegeta makes a passing comment that this might be Super Saiyan's true form, but this vague remark provides no clarity. What exactly is this true form? How does it tie into Saiyan biology or the history of Universe 6 Saiyans? Why is Kaio the only Saiyan capable of achieving the transformation? None of these questions are addressed. The anime offers no context as to whether this form is something unique to Kaio, a trait of Universe 6 Saiyans, or a potential for all Saiyans if certain conditions are met. For example, could Goku, Vegeta, or any other Saiyan in Universe 7 tap into this form under the right circumstances? There is no attempt to explore their possibilities, leaving viewers with a sense of narrative emptiness. The power scaling of this form also raises significant corners. Kaio's transformation allows her to effortlessly withstand attacks like Goku Super Saiyan Blue Kamehameha, walking through it without so much as a scratch. While it's likely that Goku was holding back, the sheer disparity in their power levels feels exaggerated and poorly justified. Later, Kaio transforms into what appears to be a more traditional Super Saiyan, but is still riddled with inconsistency. Her hair is a dull pale yellow, distinct from the different golden hue of the typical Super Saiyan forms in Universe 7, as well as her physique remains naturally bulky, adding another layer of confusion. In this stage, she manages to hold her own against Goku in the Super Saiyan God form, albeit a tired Goku. Again, there's no explanation for the mechanics behind this form, its power scaling, or why her transformation differs so drastically from what we know about Saiyan biology. Another transformation introduced during this saga is Super Saiyan Blue evolution, achieved by Vegeta during his battle with Jiren. While visually distinct and thematically appropriate for Vegeta's character, this transformation suffers from the lack of explanation that plagues Kaio's form. Vegeta achieved this form after breaking through his limits, but the anime never elaborates on what this entails. The transformation is never named in the anime and is only given a title in external materials like Dragon Ball Heroes and promotional content. Design-wise, Super Saiyan Blue evolution features dark blue hair, sharper and more defined blue eyes, and an aura with a darker, almost purple hue interspersed with white sparkles. Vegeta's physique also bulks up, resembling his Super Saiyan Grade 2 form from the Cell Saga, which some fans speculate might be an intentional callback. However, this visual evolution is never clarified in-universe. Is this more a refined version of Super Saiyan Blue? Is it the result of specific training method or a unique trait of Vegeta's fighting spirit? These questions once again remain unanswered. Power-wise, the form seemingly allows Vegeta to rival Goku's Kaio-Ken times 20, making it an impressive boost. However, the lack of exploration into the transformation's mechanics diminishes its impact. Can other Saiyans achieve it? If so, why hasn't Goku attempted it? What does this form require in terms of training or discipline? In both the anime and the manga, the form is referred to only as the form Vegeta used against Jiren, reducing it to little more than a plot device. External media such as Dragon Ball Heroes depicts Gogeta achieving this transformation, but it raises more questions than it answers, given that the anime and manga provide no precedent for this cultivation or mastery. Once again, yet another form that popped up that is basically a reskin of another form that we have no explanation behind. By contrast, Ultra Instinct introduced in the same arc is an example of how Dragon Ball Super can handle transformations effectively when given proper build-up. From early foreshadowing in Whis' training sessions to Goku's eventual attainment of the form during moments of extreme desperation, Ultra Instinct is well integrated into the story. You can even see its foreshadowing in the manga way before we see Dragon Ball Super. All of Goku's masters play a role in him learning this transformation here, and this is definitely the hallmark of the series. Its mechanics are explained, its significance is emphasized, and the impact resonates throughout the arc. It stands in stark contrast to the poorly handled transformations of Kale and Vegeta. Transformations should serve as milestones in a character's journey, reflecting growth, struggle, and mastery. Unfortunately, besides Ultra Instinct and arguably Super Saiyan God, these forms feel like missed opportunities to enrich the lore and deepen the character's development. Instead, they come across as superficial power-ups designed for shock value, leaving fans with more questions than answers. Ultra Ego is particularly notable because it ties directly to Vegeta's character and his training under Beerus. It builds on the concept of God Ki and destructive power wielded by a God of destruction. The transformation reflects Vegeta's willingness to embrace a more destructive path, in contrast with Goku's mastery of Ultra Instinct, which is rooted in calmness and self-movement. The deliberate design and thematic alignment make Ultra Ego a welcoming addition to the series, offering not just a power boost but a deeper insight into Vegeta's philosophy. The way that the form works in-universe may go against these ideals, and will find Vegeta on the more losing end of the stick possibly. The way that it was created and conceptualized, I do believe makes somewhat sense. I would put it below Super Saiyan God and Ultra Instinct by far, but still a transformation that definitely stands above the rest. The Black Frieza transformation is similar to his Gold one, just without the drawbacks. To be honest, the form makes even less sense just because we know nothing about it. Frieza trains for 10 years and then this form pops up. We haven't been given any explanation necessarily as to how Frieza achieved the golden form or what the golden form even really means. So it's hard to say where this black form comes from. And even more so if Frieza has any more transformations and what they even mean or what they look like. They all just seem to be reskins of him in his base form. True Ultra Instinct is simply just Goku using Ultra Instinct, just not the white-haired version, so not really much to say there. I do kind of like the idea though of one form being able to use the emotions more freely and the other one not. Now, as for Gohan Beast and Orange Piccolo, I would say that Gohan Beast definitely stands out as one that's much more unearned and doesn't make too much sense, at least just generally. Gohan Beast is essentially Trunks' Super Saiyan Rage, except with Gohan Beast, there's more concept behind it since Gohan has always had a hidden power within him. However, it's very clearly a reskin of Super Saiyan 2, just with much longer and spikier hair. He even kinda achieves it in the same way, while fighting against Cell, which kind of further diminishes it in my opinion. But I guess I'd put it above the Golden Friezas of the world. There's slight foreshadowing of this in Dragon Ball Super, however, it's not enough for me to make it make sense. Orange Piccolo, however, I feel like is a very good transformation. You could argue the rollout could be better, though I think it makes a lot of sense how Piccolo actually ended up achieving this form in the end. Design-wise, it's actually not that bad. It's not simply a recoloring of Piccolo, like in his Lime form. Or Awakening form? Not really sure what this is, there's no explanation once again. I guess this is the potential awakening that Shenron gave him, and the extra was Orange Piccolo or something like that. But regardless of the fact, another reskin. So ultimately, while Dragon Ball Super has introduced a plethora of new transformations to keep the series exciting and visually dynamic, many of them feel underdeveloped and disconnected from the larger narrative. The lack of consistent lore and thematic cohesion distracts from the sense of progression and takes out the stakes that were earlier provided. Unless future content revisits these forms to flesh them out and establish them longer in the continuity, they risk being remembered as more convenient power-ups than meaningful milestones in the Dragon Ball saga. But those are just my thoughts on it anyway. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. And until next time, Majin Birds.